In this video, we're going to look at how to create a hammock task. Now, a hammock task is one that has a variable duration that continuously recalculates and changes to reflect actual events on the program. It does this by having its start and finish dates linked to and driven by the start or finish dates of other tasks on the program. A good example of where you'd use a hammock task is in the calculation of scaffolding time on hire. Scaffolding is extremely changeable and it's a costly item, so it makes good sense to have a means of accurately and easily tracking time on hire. So let's have a look. Now, as you can see, this is just a short sample program showing erection of scaffold and followed sometime later by removal. And what we want to track is the time in between. Now, there are two ways of doing this, the textbook way and the way that I do it. I'm going to show you both methods and leave it to you to choose which you prefer. So the first method is how Microsoft and every other source I've ever seen for that matter tells you how it should be done. The first thing you need to know is that a hammock task doesn't use predecessors or successors. It's called a hammock task because it essentially hangs off two other tasks. I'll show you what I mean. Let's create a task called scaffold on hire. We want the hire time to start once the scaffold's erected and finish when it's ready to come down. So we're going to copy the start date of the first task following the scaffold going up and the completion date of the last task before it comes down. I'll highlight them to make it easy to follow. The way we copy and paste the dates is a little different. We copy as normal, but then we choose Paste Special, and in the pop-up dialog box we choose Paste Link and click OK. We do this for both the start and the finish dates, and that's it. The hammock task is now set. Now we've set it, let's see how it works. If I lengthen a task and push out the duration, the hammock task will adjust to match. There are two problems with this. The first problem is that it's slow and sluggish when updating automatically. It takes time for the change to ripple through. It's not instant. In fact, with a large program it can take 10 seconds or more to update. The second problem is that it doesn't always change automatically, so you have to update them manually. And while that's not difficult, it is extremely irritating. As you can see, this time I've shortened up the duration, but nothing's happening. It's not changing. So now I have to update the links manually. To do this, I need the Edit Links dialog box. The problem is that this tool isn't shown by default in the menu tabs. The quickest way for me to bring it up is actually to go to the help bar and type in links. This brings up a few options, and the one that I want is on the top. In the dialog, you can see that there are two settings, automatic and manual. First, we want to highlight both links, and if not already showing, set them to manual and press the Update Now button. And there you can see the hammock's now updated. If you're using this a lot, you can add the Edit Links tool to the Quick Access toolbar, or if you prefer, one of the main menu tabs. If you do want to add it to your toolbar, press this little button at the end of the ribbon. Now, depending on your settings, the toolbar will either be above or below the menu ribbon. I choose to have mine below, but if you want to change the position of your toolbar, either to put it above or to put it below, then click on the last item in the drop-down list. Now, going back to adding the Edit Links tool. First, change the list header to All Commands. Next, scroll down until you find Edit Links. Note there are two options here, Edit Link and Edit Links, plural. We want the second option. Highlight it and click the Add button. You can now see it on the list on the right hand side, and you can move its position in the list by clicking the up and down buttons here. Click OK and you're done. So now when we make a change, we can update very quickly and without having to wait for the software to catch up. Right, now I'm going to show you how I do it. First I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to create a completely new task called scaffolding, just to be different. I'm also going to put in two more tasks, start hire and end hire. Next I'm going to make them milestones and indent them under scaffolding, so that scaffolding becomes a summary task. Having done that, I'm going to make the start milestone follow erection of scaffold and the end milestone match the start of dismantling. All that's left for me to do now is reformat the summary task and make it look like a normal Gantt bar, and I'm done. Formatting the summary task is easy. To the Format tab, we've already got it open here. Choose Format Bar and then decide how you want it to look. You have two tabs, one for text and position and the other for shape and colour. Once you're happy, just click OK, then collapse the summary and it's good to go. Right, so let's see how this compares with the first hammock. Change this to 10 days. Now make it 3. Change this one to 2 days. Change it to 6. Each time you can see it's instant. There's no lag whatsoever. Now I'm going to show you what we can do with it. Let's go to the resource sheet, which we do by right-clicking on the sidebar here and choosing it from the list. You can see I've already entered a couple of resources, a scaffolding team of 6 men and scaffold on hire. Now if you look over to the right, you can see that I've also entered some costs against each of them. $300 per hour for the team of scaffolders and $100 per day for the scaffold hire. I'm not going to go too heavily into cost loading in this video, but let's go back to the Gantt chart and see how even a tiny bit of information like this can be a big help. I'm going to start by assigning my resources against the scaffolding tasks. Scaffolders against the erection and dismantling, and the scaffold on hire against the hammock. And next I'm going to turn on the details pane in the view tab. Once it's up, I'm going to right click and change it to cost view. As I click on each task, you can see that it gives me the cost information for that task. Taking this a step further, if I go up here to the tables button and choose cost, my whole view changes to a full cost analysis sheet. Next, I'm going to set a status date, just as a marker somewhere in the middle. Let's say 16th of June. Now we're going to put a bit of reality into the program. And in order to make things a bit easier for you to follow, I'm going to make a few quick changes. First, I'm going to change the format of the Gantt bars a little, and then add a baseline. Plus, I'm going to add in the percentage complete column, and then I'm going to start logging some progress on the job. So let's say that these tasks are all complete and on track. And I do this by going to the Task tab and using the Mark on Track button. However, I'm going to say that this next task is running behind. As at today, our status date, it's only setting at 50% complete. This obviously pushes out completion of the program, as you can see. So now let's look at what our cost analysis is telling us. We can see that erection of scaffold is complete and costs $7,200. Dismantle scaffold hasn't happened yet and will cost $4,800 when it does. Scaffolding time on hire was originally calculated at $2,800 as per our baseline. However, because we're running behind schedule and the scaffold needs to stay up for 4 days longer, the cost is currently pushing out by an extra $400 and totaling $3,200. Right, that's it for this video. As always, if you have any questions or feel that there's just something that you didn't quite get your head around, drop us an email at justask@menloacademy.com and we'll come back to you as quickly as possible. Don't forget, we're here to help you. See you in the next one.